Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more entertainment news today. So, just thinking about entertainment over the past week, and I was thinking about different topics and looking for different news. There really wasn't much news out there. So, I had to dig into my bag of just knowledge and just information that I already had to just kind of formulate this topic. So, thinking about Denzel Washington, I was thinking about what was his best movie. I think I posted a survey before about it, but I wanted to go into more detail why my favorite Denzel movie was my favorite Denzel movie. So, and this is probably one of the most controversial questions in Hollywood. What is his best movie? Because he has so many. He has so much range. He has so much charisma, who he has so much influence in Hollywood, and especially when it comes to films, not so much, television, but film industry. He has a lot of influence and a lot of impact. Anytime that he has a movie, you're going to go out and check it out, no matter what it is or who he's portraying. He can pretty much portray anybody and make it successful. So he's definitely one of those A-list actors that you go out and watch just because of the namesake and the history. So I would just want to delve into a bunch of his classic movies, and then at the end, I'm going to pick my favorite movie that he has out of his catalog, in my opinion, of course. So I started off with Malcolm X, the biopic of the great civil rights activist and leader. He portrayed that movie very well. Unfortunately, he didn't get an Oscar for it. I consider it one of the greatest snubs in Oscar history. This movie he portrayed to the T, and every time now when I see Malcolm X, I see Denzel Washington just for the simple fact of how strongly he played the character. And you could tell the time and effort and hard work that he put into studying that character. Probably the amount of books he read, the amount of interviews he looked at, the different things, all the research that went into playing that character. So it was very moving and it was very descriptive, and it felt like you knew that character personally. So that is what makes a true actor, I believe, in my opinion. Just not just that you can play him to a T, but can you make us feel the character? Can you provoke emotion? And he definitely did that in the Malcolm X movie, showing his range off again. Remember the Titans, definitely a tearjerker, the biopic of the integrated Virginia high school that also integrated the football team as well. And Denzel plays the head coach in that movie. That movie, like I said, I think I've never watched that movie without crying. That movie is one of the most emotion-provoking movies that he's probably played, next to this one of the other movies I'll get into in a little bit, but John Q. But that movie not only was based on a true story, but when you think about it, it's not that long ago. So the historical impact of that movie, the realism of the movie, just it doesn't feel like it was dramatized at all, like most movies are that are based on a true story. They have to add a little extra to make it better for movies, but this movie felt like they didn't have to do that. It was natural, or very organic. So Remember the Titans, definitely one of the good movies on his list that's in my choices of the favorites. And then Training Day, of course, he won an Oscar for, where he played the troubled and corrupted LAPD officer, which was based on a true story in a degree. But like I talked about, they put a little extra on the movie to make it better for viewership. So that movie was definitely in that class, and it has legendary lines and legendary scenes and even legendary actors on it. So that movie's it has to be in your tops. And then John Q, of course, where he plays the unrelenting father who was fighting for his son's life in a flawed healthcare system, which was kind of foreshadowing to today's society, because we still have the same problems today. But that was loosely, I think, based on a true story as well. So he plays a lot of biographical or true life characters to some degree, and he plays them well. And that movie, like I said, you'll cry off that movie as well, just off the sheer nature of, being a parent or just being a human, just knowing that people can go through this and people necessarily don't care unless you have the right insurance or the funds to get things done, which is very true, even more true in today's society. And then American Gangster, which is the biopic, of course, Frank Lucas, the New York crime boss. He played that very well. I thought he should have gotten an Oscar for that. I pretty much think he should get an Oscar for pretty much every movie he's done. But that movie, he played very well. He had other characters like Common, T.I., Idris Elba. It was a star packed in that movie, and everyone did an excellent job, no matter how small or how big the role that they played. Then Great Debaters, one of my sleeper picks. It's the biopic of the educator in Texas who had to teach kids in a difficult and racist society in southern state of Texas. Another biographical movie that he played to a T, and it had very strong influence on me. It made me want to, take school more serious, and made me want to just be more intellectual and just realize that we come from kings and we come from a society where we always had these negative stereotypes. Most of those movies that are historical back during that time was about slavery or about captivity or something like that relating to blacks. It didn't show us how strong intellectually we were and how much influence we had on the culture. And this movie actually did that. Did that for me. And another great movie, lastly, is Flight. It's about, a pilot that had substance use issues and then who saved a flight of passengers, but he couldn't save himself from his own demons. So this movie was very good. It had the inverted plane and how he had to safely land the plane and how skilled he was as a pilot, but he just couldn't kick the issues that he had away from being a pilot. And he brought that to work, and it became very difficult for him to get out of a legal situation, and he ended up taking accountability at the end for his actions. But it's a very good movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Hopefully I didn't spoil it too much, but it was a very good movie. Like I said, he has a lot of great movies with so much range, playing so many different characters, playing so many different personalities. And it's very difficult to pick one. But if I have to pick one, I'm going to have to pick Malcolm X just because of the historical importance. Now, me and my big brother Gary, we used to always watch Malcolm X. It's a very long movie. If you have the VHS, it's like 2 cassettes. But it never gets stale just knowing the story of Malcolm X. I've read a lot of Malcolm X books, seen a lot of his interviews, and he's just influential on how he made you feel as a black man or as a African American, so to speak. It was just influential altogether, just the way he was able to put words together, the story that he had of coming from, being, criminal behavior all the way to being a productive member of society, to trying to uplift the black community from where he came from and trying to pull other people up, not just getting up to where he is and acting uppity and not wanting to bring other people up with him, but just his impact of trying to get people to where they need to be and where they know they should be. And we don't have leaders like that anymore, or that many, I should say. But Malcolm X definitely did that. And Denzel Washington's portrayal of Malcolm X accentuated or exacerbated his aura. Because, a lot of times we hear about people or we, read about things, but seeing it firsthand through the eyes of Denzel Washington made everything so much different for me. And this was back in 92, early 90s, so Spike Lee directing it. It was a perfect combo. They were roommates in college back at Morehouse in Atlanta, and they have that chemistry and they have that unique ability to make art together and be on the same page. And this movie was no different. They played in a lot of movies together, or starred in a lot of movies together where Spike Lee directed and Denzel acted. And it was just an amazing combo. And you really don't see combos like that in the acting industry anymore. But this Malcolm X movie definitely set the tone for, it's similar to the producer and rapper, what I talked about in previous segments. But Denzel and Malcolm X was equivalent to Jamie Foxx and Ray for me. Because Jamie Foxx had did a lot of things in Ray to prepare for that character, being blind most of the day, just the research and trying to nail down the voice and emulating the sound. Denzel did a lot of that. I'm pretty sure he watched a lot of interviews, read a lot of books, looked at interviews and books, and just talked to different people that knew him or knew of him, and just being able to get the character down pat, because that's what it's about, trying to give us the best product. And he always gives us that best product. So Malcolm X is my favorite in the Denzel collection. Everything else is a close second. It's very difficult to pick one, but if I had to, it had to be Malcolm X, just for the simple fact of how closely he imitated that character, and the emotion that he evoked from it. You actually felt like he was Malcolm X and you was watching Malcolm X live throughout his life. So thanks for tuning into the Urban Scope podcast. And until next time, I'll see you next time.